Greetings everyone, T-Strats here back with a very short but important video. So for the last week or so I've received countless comments asking, will The Last of Us Part 2 have a multiplayer? Well, the quick and short simple answer is no, The Last of Us Part 2 game will not. But a more complex answer is actually yes. I do believe we will see a second iteration of Factions returned as a standalone game. And I will give you some very good reasons why I think this. And no, it does not have anything to do with 13 seconds of leaked footage from 2018. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a brief timeline of everything we know so far and why I believe Naughty Dog chose to go the direction of a standalone game. So on June 18th, 2018, The Last of Us Part 2 co-directors Anthony Newman and Kurt Margano announced that multiplayer would return. They stopped short of saying that Factions would return, but said that a multiplayer component would indeed return to The Last of Us Part 2. Now, there was no news for over a year until September 26, 2019, Outbreak Day. And that Outbreak Day quickly became Heartbreak Day for all of the Factions enthusiasts, as the first news to hit was that The Last of Us Part 2 would not contain multiplayer at all. A lot of people were just shocked and in disbelief, where others went straight to rage and unleashed all the hate and toxicity that is typically reserved for Covert Training 3 Silent Tactical users at Naughty Dog and their employees. So I too was initially in shock at the news, but I knew that there was just too much going on, that there were job postings, I knew there were people on the Naughty Dog team that were specifically working on a multiplayer project. So I urged patience and said we just need to ask for clarification. I asked Sancho West for help. I said together we can probably calm the community down and get some clarification on this issue. He did not respond to me. He made a reaction video instead. So then I started the We Are Factions hashtag, and this is the beauty of Twitter, why I ask so many people, if you're not on Twitter, you need to get on Twitter, because I honestly believe this whole thing happened because of what we had going here on Twitter with the We Are Factions hashtag. We got a response just hours later. It was a clarification specifically about The Last of Us Part 2 and multiplayer, which was pretty unprecedented for the time for a company to do this. Now, this announcement specifically states that The Last of Us Part 2 will not have a multiplayer component. I think that is very, very clear by this, and it does say in the last paragraph that you will eventually experience this fruits of their team's online ambition, but not as part of The Last of Us Part 2. They concluded by saying that they're as big a fan as Factions as the rest of the community. And you know what? Once again, thanks to Twitter, I have had the opportunity and the extreme honor of interacting with people who made The Last of Us Factions and who are currently working on this future multiplayer. They are real, honest, hardworking people, and they love Factions. Anthony Newman, Aaron Daly, Vinith Agrawal, Paul Bishai, Ed Pereira, they were kind enough to interact with me and the community to get this Appreciation April challenges out. I'm telling you guys, they play Factions, and I think they have big, big plans that they cannot wait to share with us. So that leads us to the next question. Is this going to be an add-on or a standalone? And I think I've established very well here, it will not be an add-on. The Last of Us Part 2 is a massive game. It's so big. Over 100 gigabytes. I think it's just too dang big to add a multiplayer component to it. And rightly so. So where does that leave us? Well, I want you to watch this brief clip from Neil Druckmann talking about multiplayer experiences at Naughty Dog.
What we don't want is multiplayer to feel like a mode. We want it to be almost its own game, its own experience. It might start with an idea of a world or idea of a mechanic, or even more recently, a certain feeling that we're after, and then we will explore, okay, what kind of world can evoke that feeling? What kind of mechanics can evoke that feeling? What kind of psychological situations can we put multiple people in that speak back to the theme that we're after? We'll brainstorm an idea and we all go off and work on our different disciplines, and when we come together, you're seeing just amazing stuff, better than you could ever imagine, as it coalesces into this something that's truly greater than the sum of its parts.
Neil Druckmann said it right there. He doesn't want it to feel like a mode. He wants it to feel like its own game, its own experience. So why not make it its own game, its own experience? And I think that's exactly what they are doing. With a Last of Us faction standalone multiplayer, you can have a game in the Last of Us universe that is not tied directly to The Last of Us Part 2. You can have the regular weapons like hunting rifle, machete, revolvers, but you can also have the burst rifles, the assault rifles, the launcher, and other high fire rate weapons that will not show up in The Last of Us Part 2. And that's the beauty of it. Now, the final question is this a game that you will have to purchase for $60+ separately, or will this be free to play? And that is a really, really interesting question. There's a lot of free-to-play multiplayers out there right now, but none of them are really a third-person tactical shooter in this style. And the Naughty Dog team said that this is their most ambitious multiplayer project ever, so it really can go in a direction that we're really not expecting at this point. Either way, I'm super excited about this, and I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. All right. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch this. If you enjoyed this, please like the video and share it with your friends, family, or anyone else who is really interested in this Last of Us multiplayer. All right, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Cheers.